Are you confused on the latest extension regarding foreclosures and evictions, wondering if you're actually protected? Well, you're not alone. Unfortunately, there's a lot of misinformation out there floating around the internet at the moment with regards to this extension. In today's video, we're going to talk about who's actually protected from this extension as well as who is currently at risk. We're also going to talk about what's happening behind the scenes with regards to the CDC eviction and foreclosure moratorium, who's trying to get it extended, but why it's actually not likely to happen. So let's take a minute and talk about why there's some confusion out there. There were actually two different foreclosure and eviction moratoriums running simultaneously during this entire time. There was the original one that was passed as part of the CARES Act that protected homeowners who had federally backed mortgages, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, and VA, who owned single family homes. They could not be evicted or foreclosed on those properties. Then we had the eviction and foreclosure moratorium that came from the CDC. This one protected everyone. Whether you had a federally backed mortgage or not, you were protected from being foreclosed upon and or evicted. But let's take a minute here and talk about the good news. The good news is, as of last week, the eviction and foreclosure moratorium that was passed as a part of the original CARES Act was actually extended through the end of September. So who does that protect? It protects those homeowners that own single family homes and has a mortgage backed by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, or VA, and it also protects tenants in those properties. So if you are a tenant and you're occupying a property that has a federally backed mortgage on it, you are currently protected from being evicted from that property through the end of September. Now, the bad news. The bad news is the one that was passed by the CDC, the eviction and foreclosure moratorium that was part of the CDC, that one was not extended. So if you have a mortgage that was privately held that is not backed by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, or VA, and you've missed mortgage payments, you've missed rent. So if you're a homeowner that's behind on your mortgage, you're a tenant who is behind on your payments, you could potentially be foreclosed upon and or evicted from that property. So what's actually happening behind the scenes as of right now is that you have Pelosi, you have Maxine Waters, you have a large Democratic majority reaching out to President Biden as well as Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, asking them to extend the CDC's moratorium to protect everyone. And the problem with that is that it was actually ruled unlawful by the Supreme Court, the original moratorium. And so with that, the CDC cannot extend that moratorium without further legislation from Congress. So they've reached out to President Biden to reach out to Congress to, draft a new bill, if you will, to be voted on so that the CDC can actually extend this eviction and foreclosure moratorium through the end of the year. Here's the problem, is that even if new legislation is actually written, chances are it's not going to pass. We are nearly 18 months into this eviction and foreclosure moratorium. And so the likelihood of this being extended any further from the CDC is very, very low. But on the other hand, there has been a precedent set, in my opinion, from Biden as well as Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, and VA, that they will protect property that is federally backed during this time, right? They've extended it multiple times. They came out couple months ago and said they weren't going to extend it any further. They've extended it through the end of September. And September is, edging on months where it starts to get cold in a lot of areas across the country. Trust me, they are not going to allow people to be evicted and foreclosed upon as winter hits. Right? It's the worst time to be evicted and or foreclosed upon from a property. So my guess is those that own a property and it's backed by Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, or VA could likely see further extensions moving forward. So the question is, what do you do if you own one of these properties that, is not federally backed? it's a privately held mortgage, and or you're a tenant and you're renting one of these properties and you're not able to make your monthly rent payments, you need to seek the rental assistance, right? There were nearly $45 billion passed as rental assistance programs. There's money out there. Unfortunately, a lot of it has not been allocated at the moment, but there's still money sitting in these programs that's available for those that need it. It's there to pay back rent. It's there to pay back utilities. So if you're a landlord, there's money available to you if you need it. If you're a tenant, there's money available if you need it as well. So there's a lot going on with regards to this extension. There's a lot of people that feel it's not fair because, they're no longer protected, whereas there are people on the other side that are protected. At the end of the day, I don't see this going much further on the CDC side with an extension, just because the Supreme Court got involved, ruled it unlawful for the original moratorium to begin with. So I don't think you're going to see any further extensions. Now, how this plays out with regards to the housing market, hard to say, right? I believe that even as states open up, start foreclosure, start eviction proceedings, it's going to take months. The courts are going to be backlogged with dealing with this sort of thing, with evictions, with foreclosures. Some states are going to react quicker than others. Here in the state of California, we actually have a moratorium through the end of September, regardless, based on what was passed by our governor. So in the state of California, you're protected regardless of what type of mortgage it is, but other areas across the country are not. So, even as it expired, it's likely going to take months for it to work its way through the court system. But if you're somebody out there that is going to be affected from this, I would advise you to start working on an exit plan. Start working on trying to find a property so that you're not surprised at the end of the day, somebody shows up at your doorstep and tells you have to go. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear, but it's the direction that you need to start looking, because chances of it getting extended are very, very slim at this point. But I'll continue to update you on foreclosures, on evictions as things progress. And if you want to get my thoughts on, what I feel like the next crisis is, check out this video here. But for now, I appreciate you taking the time to watch. I appreciate all the support. Hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.